There are some people, mainly me, that think we'll have a far better understanding of what it is to be human if we think of ourselves as robots. Not robots made of metal, obviously, but robots in the sense of being automatic machines doing nothing more than following instructions from the day we're born until the day we die. No freedom, just doing what we're programmed to do. Think Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Terminator movies. Arnie plays a cyborg that looks almost identical to a real human being. It's only because of his bizarre physique and weird voice that you know he's not actually human. Sent from the future, he's been programmed to complete just one specific task: to kill Sarah Connor. Now it's up to him how he achieves that task. He makes all the minute-by-minute decisions, whether to use the 12-gauge autoloader or the Uzi 9mm. But he can't deviate from his programmed objective in any way. He's got no freedom to decide, for example, to quit being a remorseless assassin and run for governor of California instead. In that regard, he's just like a chess computer. A chess computer has one mission: to capture the king. It can't change that mission, but it gets to pick the best moves to achieve it. Which is exactly what it is to be human. We make our own day-to-day, minute-by-minute decisions about the best way to execute the objective that we're programmed to achieve, but we're entirely restricted to that one objective for our whole lives. And, spoiler alert, the only objective that any human has ever had, the purpose of every decision we make, including my decision to create this video and your decision to watch it, is to maximize the survival chances of our genes. And we know this because it's the only purpose that natural selection can program into a living thing. Every living thing has exactly the same single objective. Richard Dawkins puts it like this: we are survival machines, blindly programmed to preserve the selfish molecules known as genes. Now, this idea that we're machines or robots obviously goes against our instinctive understanding that we're free to do what we like with our lives. It goes against our personal experience that we can do what we want, that we have free will. And this personal experience is so powerful that even Richard Dawkins himself doesn't actually believe he's a robot. He spends a whole book, The Selfish Gene, elegantly and compellingly assembling the evidence to convince us that we are machines, only to throw it all away in the last 3 pages and say, well, you know what, on second thoughts, ignore everything I just said, because we have the power to turn against our creators. We alone on Earth can rebel against the tyranny of the selfish replicators. I did say elegantly, didn't I? Anyway, strangely, Dawkins doesn't bother to explain how we have the power to rebel against our creators. He doesn't apologise for having spent 297 pages telling us that we're robots and then revealing that we're actually not. He just throws it all out, all the external scientific evidence that he's carefully assembled, and instead decides to trust the single data point of his personal experience. And I say single data point because there is no other evidence for the existence of free will other than our personal experience. There's no evidence and no one is even looking for it. No one is attempting to understand, for example, the mechanism by which our thoughts could take control of the other chemical reactions going on in our brains. No one is attempting to work out how the human brain is the only entity in the known universe that somehow has the ability to break the laws of physics. Now, the assumption that Dawkins seems to be making is, well, don't worry, we know we have free will because of our personal experience, and although it doesn't make any sense at the moment, one day someone will work it out for us. We just have to sit by the river long enough and the answer will come floating by. But hang on, what if rather than rewriting the laws of physics, we just took a look at that one single data point, our personal experience, and asked ourselves, have we been fooled? Is it an illusion, just like the illusion that the Earth is flat? Now come on, don't tell me you didn't once believe that the Earth was flat. And when your mum told you that we lived on a large ball floating in the infinite void, you didn't think, well, how come the people living on the bottom don't fall off then? So you were fooled by that illusion, and I'm now going to try to convince you that you've also been fooled by another illusion, the illusion that you spend all day doing what you want rather than doing what your genes want. And I'm not going to ask you to take my word for it. I'm going to ask you to take another look at your personal experiences and see how those self-same personal experiences have fooled you. And then I'll show you what you'd do all day if you really had the freedom to choose. Let's see how the illusion works. The illusion of free will is caused by the strange way that our conscious minds have been programmed. Instead of being consciously aware, for example, that our blood sugar levels are low, our conscious minds experience a feeling that we call hunger. When we grab a hot pan, we don't think, oh dear, the heat is damaging my skin, which will reduce my ability to fight off infection. We think, ow, that hurts, and we feel pain. Our conscious minds are programmed to make choices based on pain and pleasure. And not just pain and pleasure, but a whole spectrum of feelings. Some of these feelings we like and some we don't like. Let's bring in Matt Ridley. He's another guy who writes whole books about how our genes control our behaviour, but still thinks we have free will. Matt Ridley is the author of, amongst other things, The Origins of Virtue, all about how our genes give us our morals, which they would need to do if we are indeed robots. Dr. Ridley sums it up nicely, our instinctive feeling that we're able to choose what we do with our lives. He says, I am quite capable of jumping in my car and driving to Edinburgh right now, and for no other reason than that I want to. I am a free agent, equipped with free will. And this appears to satisfy Dr. Ridley. He knows he's got free will because he can drive to Edinburgh simply because he wants to. And that's it. That's the sum total of the evidence he thinks he needs to provide for the existence of free will.